Talent is a lie. Not a little lie, a massive, culture-wide lie that has kept millions of people broke, stuck, and mediocre their entire lives. And the worst part? The people selling you this lie are the ones you trust the most. Your parents, your teachers, your idols. But here's what nobody's talking about. The most successful people in the world aren't the most talented. In fact, studies show that raw talent can actually destroy your chances of success. And I'll show you exactly why in just a moment. Before I do, I need you to hold on to one question. What if the thing you think is your biggest weakness is actually your greatest advantage? We're coming back to that, because the answer will completely change how you see yourself. Here's what nobody tells you in school. When Mozart was 6 years old, people called him a genius. But here's the dark truth. Mozart practiced 3,500 hours before he wrote his first masterpiece. His father documented every single session. It wasn't magic, it was obsession disguised as talent. Now think about someone you know, maybe even yourself, who was told you were naturally gifted at something. What happened next? You probably stopped pushing as hard. You coasted, because when the world hands you a label called talented, your brain secretly whispers, you don't have to try. And it's quietly killing your potential every single day. But I'll show you the escape route. Hold on, because first you need to understand why discipline is actually harder to build than it looks. Discipline isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. It's not about cold showers or cutting out sugar. That's performative discipline, Instagram discipline. Real discipline is something far darker and far more powerful. It's what happens when you show up when no one's watching, when nothing's working, and when your brain is screaming at you to quit. Here's the brutal gap talent can never close. A talented person who quits after the first failure will always lose to an undisciplined person who eventually finds their system. Always. And this brings me back to that question I asked you at the start. What if your so-called weakness is your advantage? The people who were never called gifted, they had no choice but to build systems. They had no comfort to fall back on. Their struggle was the discipline, and that is priceless. So here's the truth. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's not something you're born with. It's a skill, and like every skill, it's built through reps. Small, boring, daily reps. Start with this. Pick one thing you want to master. Give it 20 focused minutes every single day for 30 days. Not when you feel like it. Especially when you don't. That's where the compound interest of discipline starts to build. Talent fades. Talent peaks. Talent gets lazy. But discipline compounds. And in 6 months, the disciplined average person will have lapped the talented one. Every single time. You were never not talented enough. You were just never shown how to be relentless. Start today, not tomorrow. Today. If this hit different, share it with someone who's been told they're not gifted enough. They need to hear this more than you know.